Classical School. Forerunners. In 1687, Isaac Newton greatly advanced Kepler's earlier scientific laws of motion, and Galileo's mathematical laws of movement of bodies on Earth. Pre-major revolution. Scientists relied heavily on experimental evidence. Newton popularized the already existing idea that the universe is governed by natural laws. Newton's system was static view of the universe. What is the Industrial Revolution? In 1776, England as the most industrially efficient and powerful country in the world benefited from free international trade. As the entrepreneurs become stronger, they no longer had to rely on the government subsidy, monopoly privileges, and tariff protection. Free, mobile, low-paid, and hard-working labor force also emerged. Question: what was the three major merits during the scientific revolution? These are the major tenets. Let's go one by one. Firstly, minimal government intervention. It forces of the free competitive market would guide production, exchange, and distribution. Government activity should be confined to enforcing property rights, providing for the national defense, and providing public education. Secondly, self-interested economic behavior. All economic activity is based on self-interest. Producers and merchants provide goods based on the desire. Workers offered the labor services to obtain wages, and consumers purchased products as a way to satisfy the wants. Next, harmony of interests. By pursuing their own individual interests, people serve the best interests of society. Besides, importance of all economic resources and activities. All economic resources and activities contribute to a nation's wealth. Lastly, economic laws. It contribute to economics by focusing analysis upon explicit economic theories or laws, and believes that laws are universal and immutable. Question: the Malthusian theory of population, the Ricardian theory of rent, and the quantity theory of money refers to which tenet? Whom did the classical school benefit? In long run, classical economics served all society because the application of theories promoted capital accumulation and economic growth. It gives respect to business people who have previously provided honors and income to the nobles. In short run, it was the wage earners that bore the heaviest burden. Question: who had to bear the cost of long hours of work at low pay? How was the classical school valid, useful, or correct in its time? It's promoting laissez-faire and, not commerce, produces wealth. As the government was wasteful, corruption, and under circumference, so, less government is better. Which tenets became lasting? Firstly, law of diminishing return. Secondly, law of comparative advantages. Next, consumer sovereignty. Besides, importance of capital accumulation. Lastly, importance of market mechanism. The London Economist criticized the sanitary movement, which urged that the government require a pure water supply and proper sewage disposal. The Economist declared that poor housing and urban death rates came from two causes, which was the poverty of masses due to the increasing of taxation inflicted by the new law, and that the people have never been allowed to take care of themselves. Question: name the classical laws that are now taught as principles of economics. Sir Dudley, born in 1680, died in 1734. He has been called the world's first prominent free trader. Emphasized that trade is mutual advantage to both sides, which mean no to accumulate specie but exchange surplus. He disagreed with the mercantilist concept that war and conquest enrich the country. He's saying international trade and division of labor would promote wealth, even if there's no gold existed. He argued for laissez-faire as the way to achieve the maximum gains from both intra and international trade. However, he disagreed the concept that wealth should be measured by a country's stock of precious metals. Question: what was his thought on the division of labor? He is born in 1680 and died in 1734 year. He predated the physiocrats in two ways, which are used the term entrepreneur, and emphasize the role of this figure in economic life. He developed a theory of value and price, emphasis on supply and demand. Besides, emphasis on role of land, and fluctuations of price around intrinsic value. These makes him a direct forerunner of classical economics. He believes that the increase in money comes from a surplus of exports, it enriches merchants and entrepreneurs and give employment to workers. He analyzed interest as a reward for the risk taken in lending, and also focused on productivity of a nation's resource. He opted for a surplus of exports as being good to business, but did not believe that gold and silver mined at home would serve the same purpose. Question. He emphasized the role of what? David Hume, born in 1711, and died in 1776 year. His greatest contribution was in presenting what has since been called the price-specie flow mechanism, which is to illustrate how trade imbalances can be self-correct and adjust under the gold standard. He analyzed the mechanism of the international equilibrium that would operate without government intervention. He did not believe these price-level adjustments would occur instantaneously. His of money and of interest stated that price level changes initially would lag behind the changes in money. Price-specie flow mechanism is natural law thinking. It proceeds from the assumption of an equilibrium. Once the economy moves away from the equilibrium, events automatically occur to restore it. Hume believed in an unequal distribution of property, because perfect equality would destroy the ideas of thrift and industry, thus leads to impoverishment. Hume is saying that international trade is a positive sum game. He also saying that change in quantity of money affect nominal variable but not real variable, which is called monetary neutrality. Questions. What was his greatest contribution? And what does it mean?